We Got a Podcast was filmed before a live internet audience.
Hello and welcome to We Got a Podcast normally about Dragon Ball, from Earth to Jirai to Geminar. We're going to cover it all. My name is Randy.
And I'm Doug.
And I'm nothing but one big mass, Ken.
Woohoo! We're the world's strongest under the heavens Chosen here every other week to dive deep into all things alien girls, spaceships, and laser swords. We're live. Obviously, the people that are here, that are watching live, they know that. But like, if you're tuning in and you're like, what is this? There's a little bit of a different energy. This is a live show. We're doing bonus episodes live now because otherwise it wouldn't happen. So it's going to be a bit more looser, a bit more, I don't know.
A little bit more raw, like Raw Rob. You get that reference if you join the live show, so.
It's canon now. Add it to the wiki. There is no wiki, but you could start it. Listener, viewer, whatever you want. I'm probably not going to do it, but somebody could. I don't know.
Yeah, there was a good 15 minutes where I was just obsessed with Doug's new room, and you missed all that if you didn't tune in live.
It's true. Normally we just kind of jump into this, but this is the big unveiling. Doug, you're in a new place.
Am I? Nah, man.
As far as I know.
The Switch 2 is going to be expensive, so I just sold all my figures, and this Vegeta's all that's left that I can keep. But
it's really amazing. Yeah. You had all that room in your bedroom?
Yeah, it was covered by figures. Wow. The boxes, they literally were load-bearing. I'm scared for my life. The ceiling's going to crash down now without figures. Without Broly holding it up, what is life?
Well, if it happens here, I mean, that's content because, you know.
Okay, yeah, monetize my death, please. I want to go as I lived, fully monetized.
Exactly. That's the good part to go on. So yeah, we're here. We're live. You can chat with us and all the other fun stuff. And as far as I know, we're going to keep this going for running through OVA 2 of Tenchi. So the next episode, if you're listening to this afterwards, you can always join us live. We're going to do April 29th, right, guys? At 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central.
Sure. Yeah. I don't see why not.
Well, great. Good. Just wanted to make sure we were all on board. That's fair. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Is there anything? Again, we're obsessed with Doug's new place. This is our first time seeing it too, so we just it's on our minds. It's all I can look at.
So many questions.
That and his handsome face, but that's already been canon. Anything you guys want to go over before we just jump right into our topic for the day?
No, let's go.
Let's go.
All right. Well, then let's do it. We're doing Tenchi Muyo Ryo-Ohki OVA 2, Season 2, however you want to do it. That's episodes 2 and 3, or episodes 9 and 10 overall. It's confusing, I know, but I'm going to make it more confusing as we go. So, as a heads up, production information originally created by Mazuki Kajishima and Hiroki Hayashi, Studio AIC, who did Bubblegum Crisis, Oh My Goddess, Persona 4 the animation. Originally supposed to be a follow-up for Bubblegum Crisis and to be comedy-based. They were like, nah. And they're like, all right, cool. We're going to have our own anime with blackjack and hookers. We haven't encountered either of those yet, but there's much more to go. I'm sure we'll find it at some point.
Oh, no.
And
always looking.
Okay, all right.
I haven't seen OVA 4. I don't know where things go. You know, it's going to get wild. So here we are. We're in OVA 2 territory, post Kagato and all that. All the girls are here, and we're doing episodes 2 and 3. Need to do a temperature check. How did you guys feel about these episodes? Doug, you were kind of new to this whole thing, and I always go with you first because you're my number 2. Sorry, Ken, but Doug was here before you were.
I'm glad you're your own number 1 though. That's actually like good for self-confidence. No, these episodes were great. Again, just felt like a great show. This kind of feels, it's weird because it feels like slice of life and yet not, because it's a lot of stuff happens. But yeah, I enjoyed these episodes very, very much.
Awesome. Ken, how are you feeling about these two?
They're slice of life, but they're also shaking the ground that the show walks on. And Absolutely. It's interesting. It didn't stand out to me until actually like halfway through the first episode is that Ryoko and Ayeka carried this show in the first season, and they are like pushed so aside here. And we're 3 episodes in. We've gotten a Washu episode, a Sasami episode, and a Ryo-Ohki episode. And it's like, I love that the show set its base in the first season, and now we have room to have these character episodes in season 2.
Especially now, because just anytime they cut to Ryoko or Ayeka doing their thing together, we already have that establishment. So everything they do is like funny, even if it's just like a 3-second stare down or whatnot.
Right.
Yeah, it's good. Like you said, it's kind of more slice of life, but like things are moving, things are changing, things are shifting under our feet. So we're not lulled into like, well, it's just, I don't have to pay attention to this. Nothing's really going to happen. The girls are going to argue and Tenchi's going to be like, oh, Ryoko and all this stuff. And
it makes you wonder how much of this is just pre-planned, like throughout from the original, author's mind. But because you could just have a season 1 and then boom, that's it. But then there's so much that they stretched out from that with these new characters. Well, not new characters, but delving into our OG cast.
Yeah, I mean, probably a little bit early for this, but Doug, how are you feeling? Because it sounds like, we're just kind of digging in more. Like I had mentioned in previous episodes, Hiroki Hayashi, who worked on the show through OVA 1, isn't around anymore. And he was kind of like the big writer for this. So he's out of the picture. Now we've got Masaki Kajishima, who is the character designer and, of course, one of the conceptors for this whole thing. Granted, he's not writing the screenplays for every episode, but he's kind of like the main driving force of this. You feel like this is still kind of the same thing, even though we're missing one of the big minds behind it.
It really does. Before you even said that, I'm like, yeah, it's the same person, right? They just had a long vision. But yeah, I forgot that actually different writers of the entire time. But it's just quality writers that are out there and just know where to take a good story, like what to shake up.
Cool. I think now it's just kind of in my brain that guy's not around, so I'm kind of looking around at things and being like, okay, would he, would this have really gone this way or whatever?
For me, it's just like, Tenchi rules. This is great. This show is great. That's it.
The energy,
I don't really have a lot of complaints.
The energy is different because this is the Tenchi, these 3 episodes that we've watched and these 2 that we're talking about. Like I've said before, this is the Tenchi that I really, really remember as the show being, like having the energy of these 3 episodes. Yeah. Not the first season, which is weird because there's some extremely iconic episodes and moments in that season, but this is what I remember Tenchi's for. So I don't know. It was a net gain losing that guy, I think. I might shoot myself in the foot saying that in later seasons, but as of where we're at right now, yeah, I'm at peace with it.
Good deal. I'm digging it too. So then let's just jump in. I was going to say jump and dive at the same time. You ever do that where you say 2 words at the same time? Comes out weird?
Never. Anyway, I'm perfect at English.
Yeah.
Dang it. That's right. Doug is perfect at English, and there is recorded evidence of this. So let's dive in. Episode 9, Sasami and Tsunami. This one aired October 25th, 1994. This is just 1 month after our most previous episode, which is how things were going for OVA 1, where every month, and basically, except for one time, I think it was like 6 weeks in between, we just had another one that would come out. So what was this one all about? I got you covered right there. The gang all heads back to fix up the onsen that broke a couple episodes back, but Sasami seems a little distracted. While repairing and cooking, everyone slowly sees a mysterious white figure wandering the house. Who is this mysterious white ghost, and what's wrong with Sasami? So, this episode opens up. Guys, we're back here at this onsen, and I think Ryoko says, like, are we really going to stay at this dump? And it's just, you did this.
This is the first time seeing Tenchi's dad since the last onsen episode, right?
Falling out the window or whatever? Or was it the onsen?
No, he was peeping, remember? At the onsen.
Yeah, that's right.
And the first time we've ever seen him and the grandpa in the same place at the same time?
I think so, yeah.
Oh,
for me it feels like that, yeah.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Which had me questioning, are they like, has it been established yet if they're father and son or if it's like father-in-law kind of deal?
I don't know if they've said explicitly, but we know that Tenchi's mom is Nobuyuki. Who's Randy? What are their names?
All right, so we got Tenchi's grandpa, who is originally Yosho from Jirai. On Earth, he's known as Katsuhito.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tenchi's dad, who is Nobuyuki.
Okay.
And he is not Katsuhito's son. There was the mom, which we haven't had named yet here.
Okay.
And I got to really fight to not
what's
say
revealed and what's not revealed, like.
Yeah. So, like, this is post the whole thing where Tenchi learns who his grandfather is. So it's kind of like, okay. And we're just kind of moving forward. We never had, like, a big reveal thing of, like, when did Tenchi's dad know? It's just like, everybody kind of knows everything. And we're just going to keep moving because this is just a day in their life. This isn't every single day back to back to back. So that's just how it is. Normally, Ken, I believe you watch this dubbed only.
Mm-hmm.
I watch it English dub and then Japanese, and then sometimes I've watched the TSUNAMI cut. This time I didn't do that, but I did watch it in English and Japanese. Doug, how did you watch these?
Same. Watch dub first, then sub first. Then
All
sub
right,
second.
perfect.
I don't know why I said both first. I watched both first.
At the same time, 2 monitors.
I'm upgrading here, man.
Whoa, insane. I just wasn't sure with your whole situation and moving and everything if you'd have time to watch.
I made time for Tenchi after all this. I made time.
It tells me how much you care, and I love that. That's really good. So for the dub, I know that it was the same actress from episode 4, but this time I really felt like Tenchi's aunt or whoever it is just Washu doing just a very old woman voice.
Yeah.
It's like so when they're talking to each other, it feels really weird.
I didn't notice it until here. Like when we watched it last time, I was like, I didn't think anything of it, but now having seen and listened to Washu so many times, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like when you figure out Vegeta and Piccolo are both Chris Sabat.
Yeah, exactly. Which gives the whole dynamics. It's a very, very different dynamic in the Japanese version, where Washu definitely sounds like a child. So it's like, oh, okay. Of course, you can believe that this old 8,000-year-old woman is actually just a young Sasami age girl. But no, in the dub, they both sound like old, or they sound like young kids trying to make old lady noises. I don't know. It's weird.
They're definitely having to stretch one way or another for these characters.
Yeah.
So I wrote down, what is Washu's outfit? Because I love it. She's got like a cloak thing and a hat with like a long tail. And one of the reasons why I love it is that there is a game that I played when I was younger called Lunar 2 Eternal Blue, which is coming out on all platforms this Friday as a remaster. So check that out. But one of the characters wears a long cloak with a hat shaped like that with a little tail thing in the back. And I'm like, clearly this is a thing. And if somebody could shout out.
I feel like I always see that in like Space Marine, like as a captain or whatever.
Yeah, to me it just read as like the Science Academy fit what they would wear.
But speaking about outfits, like just all these both episodes, everyone's outfits are so cool. Like, and they're so I love when shows do that, and just to take the time to give each character new outfits like frequently.
It did feel like in season 1, Ryoko is always wearing the same couple things. Ayeka always wearing the same thing. But now this season, it's like Ryoko's wearing 1 or 2 different things every episode. Ayeka maybe the same thing. But yeah, their outfits are starting to change up more.
It's definitely like a thing where as a young teenage boy, I probably wouldn't care. Like it feels like a shoujo thing, like made for girls. But now, like as an adult, I'm like appreciating. I'm like, yeah, give them a different outfits. Yeah, she looks awesome in that outfit. It's great.
Exactly, keeping it fresh. And then all the outfits, especially Ryoko's, I feel are very like creative and like a thing you don't normally see on Earth. You know, right. I mean, she's an alien. It makes sense. But it's cool. I like it. We watched the dub. I have to point out that the old woman calls her Sasami. I think that's beautiful. Especially because the voice actress Washu knows how that's said. So this was like a decision to be like, this woman does not know how to say Sasami's name.
She also calls Nobuyuki Nobuyuki. Nobuyuki.
I was wondering if it's like, that's just a weird name, I think, for English speakers to say, but also could just be like some shade of just like, I'm not going to say your name right. Who cares?
Right.
I believe that she points it out when she's like, oh, hey, I thought there was only 8 of you. And they're like, there is. And we do that slow pan of like everybody to be like, okay, let's count it through. Like, no. And she brings up like, oh, I could have swore I saw a woman who looked just like me when I was young. Like, oh, okay. So now we're starting a mystery here, which
yeah. And I thought that was going to go towards an obvious route where like it is like the ghost of her previous self, but it just spoiler alert, it didn't end up being that way. But then when I watched it in Japanese, she says those lines that you just said, but the last part where it's like, looks like a younger version of me, she kind of says that under her breath as she's walking away. So that kind of differentiates it from just being like a loud sentence that said in English that everyone's supposed to hear. It's just in Japanese, it just reads as her like giving herself like more like that would look like me, you know,
not like boasting in front of everyone.
Right.
Yeah, just like a little thought to herself. Yeah, I dig that.
There's some really great just comedic bits that follow up here, like with the boys all doing the construction work and all like hitting their thumbs in succession, and then they make Tenchi hit his.
Yeah.
And then the stuff with cutting the potatoes, and Ryoko's cutting them like way too small, and Ryoko's cutting them way too slow, and Mihoshi has like this perfect balance between the two. She's the potato waifu, guys.
Of course.
It's true.
And I love it. As Ayeka's like running away, Ryoko takes like, as she's like, man, it's so weird. She's taking the potatoes from her pile, putting in her own pile.
They're all so great together. Like, they've all got their own things going, and there's just their interesting dynamics. And it's funny that they don't ever see Mihoshi as like a threat to their whole like love triangle thing. But it's like, I don't know, man. Mahoshi's good at doing all these types of things. Like, she's very sweet. She's cute.
She's always in Tenchi's arms.
It's true.
You know,
usually from falling, but it still works. We of course have this other thing before we get to the whole potato peeling things of Sasami being like, I want, trying to get Ayeka's attention to say something and be like, oh, never mind, it's nothing. And then her and Washu go off, and Washu's pointing out like, oh, there's these flowers, these are cool, and isn't this a pretty thing? And I wonder if she's like trying to pull Sasami out of her like, little downer blues time.
I was wondering why Sasami decided now to like start revealing this. Is just like, because there's got to be some time from this in the previous episode or whatever. Like, why now is she deciding to do all this?
Yeah, I wonder. I mean, other than just we have to tell the story now, but
it feels like 700 years. Yeah. Now it's just like I need to tell her now after 700 years. Like, what?
Well, she hasn't been awake those whole 700 years, right? She and Ayeka were in like hypersleep.
Right, I guess so, yeah. Yeah.
So she's still like 13, 14 or whatever.
Maybe it has to do with, her bad dreams she's been having. Like, oh, maybe if I just finally get this off of my chest, it'll help with whatever's going on where I'm having some messed up dreams.
Yeah. Or maybe she didn't realize she was, spoiler, I guess, Tsunami until like the last near episodes of the first season, like when all that happened.
I would assume she has known this whole time because like episode, 5 or 6 or whatever, she's like making a break for the tree and like doing the incantation and teleporting away. So it's like she knows what's going on. But
okay.
So getting to that, we had that potato peeling thing, and that's kind of our first time where I think Ryoko is the one that sees just a woman walk past the doorway, and it's like, okay, nobody else saw that. And Ayeka's like, I'll go and see what it was, and that's when Ryoko steals those potatoes, and we have that whole thing where it's like, oh, it's just you, Sasami. Did you see anybody else? Like, no. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to go back to this. Oh, I want to, you know what? Never mind. And then I'm just going to continue walking through these dark hallways because the lights don't work all on my own.
We get this, the ghost story that's told by Yosho, because I've already forgotten his other name.
That's fine.
And he's telling this story, and he says like, 600 years ago. And I'm like, okay, I'm doing some quick timeline math here in my head. I'm like, okay, that would have been when he was on Earth.
I knew Ken would.
The story ends up not having anything to do with him at all. And it's just he's just playing a gag. And so that was a little bit like, maybe that's the way they're trying to lead you to think anyway. So a gag on top of a gag, a meta gag. So
I love in like just anime in general, whenever they do that joke where someone's telling a dramatic story and then it's like it's ominous, but it's a cartoon, so you're like, yeah, of course ominous, but then you could cut back to the guy blowing the fire so that there's smoke coming out. So that's why it's like, I love things like that, like music when people are like playing music in the background. I love those jokes. It always lands for me.
It's always nice to see people have a good relationship with their in-laws. We definitely have that with Nobuyuki and Yosho.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we have this story that Yosho tells of a married couple who lived in the mountains here, and then she gets sick, and so then they hear just a mysterious voice on the wind that's like, go get this herb, it can cure everything. It's just like 3 mountains over. So he leaves, she doesn't, and she feels bad that she can't go find him, and he's been missing for 6 months, and then she dies. And they're like, oh, she's still around, like looking for her beloved. And it's just a spooky story. And then we have the aunt who just comes in like, what are you guys doing? You need to get to work and all this stuff. And they're like, oh, it's the story of the white ghost. She's like, you guys telling that story again? So it's like very clear. This is like their go-to thing. So I'm wondering like, who were they doing this to before where they were terrorizing people? Is it just other people visiting?
Yeah, anyone they could terrorize probably. Like they have the whole method of the whole fanning the flames to make the smoke come out. So They have their own thing. I just love when the old lady comes in and yells at the girls, and the girls just run in panic outside the doors and just like, oh, I'm sorry. And just like, it's.
So everybody's supposed to get back to work. They tell Tenchi to go fix the lights, and he goes alone, and he's like, oh, just that stupid ghost story. Those guys. But wait a second. We did see somebody. So, like, that still happened. Like, it wasn't just a ghost story that scared us. And then he hears a noise, and then he has to try to escape, and he feels a hand on his shoulder, which then he's like, well, I'm going to drop my flashlight. It breaks, and then I'm just going to book it, and then crashes into Aika in the bath. Which she doesn't like totally freak out like she has before. Like obviously she's still in a towel, but she's holding herself, but she's not like devastated like she was in episode 4.
I think
character growth.
I think maybe because they're priorly freaked out from I think the lights are out, right? So they're just kind of like in the bath, like kind of like lights are out. And then Tenchi seems like a savior, kind of not a savior, like help.
They're a little bit safer.
Yeah.
Even though like Ryoko's like you're fine if Ryoko's there. Right. I mean Aika too. But
I gotta say, with this ghost story, this was like one of the first nights in my new house all alone. So it wasn't a great time for me to watch a scary, even Tenchi episode. Especially with the grandfather's face, with the way they draw it. One time when he's like looking for Tenchi, it's so scary.
He's holding the flashlight under his face because he's like, I'm still gonna terrorize my son.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, okay, he's not fixing the lights, so I'll try to fix it. And they're in the bath. They're like, oh, what happens? Like, I saw the woman. Well, where was she? And he points to the where he ran in from. And then Sasami's standing there. And it's dark. They don't see it. The lights turn on. And they're like, oh, it's Sasami. But then I think Mahoshi points out, like, look at the water. And it's TSUNAMI, which we've seen before when they were on the ship, when it was TSUNAMI talking to Tenchi. But then the water reflection was Sasami. So it's just a fun little switcheroo there.
This is after Mahoshi like is freaking out and like squeezes the life out of Washu. And as soon as she lets go of Washu, she just drowns in the waters. Blah, 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 blah. It's so funny. This is good shit.
Yeah, man. You're spooked. You're giggling. You know, there's naked ladies because Ryoko's, of course, never wearing clothes. So, like, the show has everything.
They give Mahoshi just like the characteristics you don't expect from someone that's already been established as like a ditz. Like she's the observant one that sees that. She's the one making the perfect potatoes. Like she's a great character.
Well, they do establish her as a great detective right from the get-go when we meet her. But yeah, it's that she's just the ditz.
Yeah.
It's true. So then what did we have here? We had the lights turned back on. They saw her, and then now they turned back off because Nobuyuki screwed up, and whatever he was doing at the breaker box, the lights turn off, he electrocutes himself. So then they're like, okay, well, now we got to go because Sasami has disappeared, and we need to all go work together to find her. I do like that they point out that they're like, okay, well, Washu's sensors don't find her. And Ryoko brings up like, and for whatever reason, I can't access Ryo-Ohki to see what's going on because she's with Sasami, obviously, and they share that connection. So it's like, all right, cool, thank you. Just need a mention of like, for whatever reason, I can't do that, so don't ask. And then they go off, so they set off to find her alone, and Aika finds her sitting alone, sees the reflection. Tenchi starts to walk over, like, oh, hey, but he like doesn't say anything before Washu grabs him, pulls him into the bushes, and just tells him to be quiet, and he turns and looks, and there's Ryoko and Mahoshi tied
and gagged. Washu's been working.
Yeah.
And you know that tape is special because Ryoko could just phase out of it otherwise.
Right.
That's true.
It's gag manga tape.
Oh, there we go. It's gag manga, gag
put that together. Wow.
So then we get this whole big reveal where Sasami's finally going to tell what Aika she's been meaning to this whole time, which is just, I'm not the real Sasami. And Aika, not even bothered, just like, okay, like, what's actually wrong? And we get the whole thing of like, you know, what happened 700 years ago. Because I think TSUNAMI even takes over talking for this story because I think Sasami is crying at the time.
Yes.
And
is this when she appears like as a phantom over the lake or something?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I want to say that's right. My note, I just says TSUNAMI speaks of what happened 700 years ago rather than Sasami. But I know I messed up one time when I was making my notes before. So
I don't know if you guys... I'm assuming it's this way in Japanese, but in the dub, it's the same actor for Sasami and TSUNAMI.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
It is the same in the dub as well, which is cool.
Yeah.
She does a good job of differentiating her adult and baby child voice.
Man, you guys have an ear for that kind of stuff. That's great.
I've also been listening to these voices forever, so like I'm like, okay, yeah, that's the same one. I know, I can recognize that. So 700 years ago, we're back on that day that Ryoko was attacking when she was mind controlled by Kagato. We have a woman who's calling out for Sasami because obviously there's danger and she can't find her. And then Sasami is just on her own little adventure. She's like, I don't know, 6 or something like that. I'm like, all right, cool. Nobody's around. I can go into like the secret arboretum or whatever, like where all of our spaceship trees are hanging out, and just hopping along, doing her own thing. And then a ship crashes into the side of the building/tree because it's, of course, a giant tree that they're in. And then she trips off a bridge and just eats it dead at the bottom of the thing, like
a pool of blood.
So Randy, did you watch the TSUNAMI cut of this episode?
I didn't.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, because this is one thing, because it's so dark, and obviously there's a lot of blood that usually they would cut out. So I'm like, how did TSUNAMI handle this? Because I don't remember it being this bad.
If anything, just color it like blue to match the whole blue aesthetic that was going on anyway, so it looks like water.
Yeah, they could have certainly done that. There's been times for here when I was watching, I'm like, okay, well, they still included blood, so they're like, like we can do a little bit here and there, because it was on TSUNAMI and then Dragon Ball Z after their first like 2 seasons.
I think I would have like remembered this though as a kid watching another kid like eat it and like being in a pool of blood like that. Like that's hectic, man. That's crazy.
That's true. It's messed up. But then, of course, we've got dry tree magic. Sasami turns into sparkles and then goes and fuses with this big tree that's down there at the bottom. And Sasami comes out to see this. She calls her mama. Later on, like in like 3 episodes, we see what Sasami's mom looks like. So I'm like, well, this has to be something weird.
I thought that was a dub mistake, and then I watched it in Japanese. I'm like, no, she still calls her mama, this random woman that is like an NPC like kind of character.
Yeah. In Jirayan language, mama just means caretaker, so it's kind of different.
Okay. I mean, I'd buy that. Like, I'd buy that even mama, just like caretaker. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's, I suppose similar to the thing of like auntie might not necessarily be your parents' sister, just
right. I mean, because like a mother wouldn't call their daughter like with the honorific of sama at the end, would they?
No. Yeah, that would be strange.
Yeah. Okay.
But she comes out and, they hug because like, okay, finally you're safe. And Sasami has always had these 2 dots on her forehead, but now they've magically transformed into 2 triangles. So
I forgot to check. I knew like the first time I'm like, okay, when I watch it again, let me take a look at her dots on her forehead. I forgot to check again. I'm like, oh crap, yeah, did she have them before or not? She always had the dots. They were just triangles now.
Well, as far as we've always known Sasami, she's always had those triangles.
Okay.
But it was just that when she was a very small baby kid thing, I don't know kids' ages, toddler, who knows? But I don't think we saw that until now. But those transform. That just kind of means like, hey, this is our fusion assimilation sort of thing going on.
So you guys have to explain this to me. Are you ready to? Can I explain, or you have more to say?
Oh, I mean, go for it.
The whole TSUNAMI thing. I don't. Was TSUNAMI its own character, or is it a tree that didn't have a form, but then when fused or assimilated with Sasami?
I suppose you just kind of have to roll with things because TSUNAMI has always existed and been a tree with some sort of humanoid form. And whenever we've seen later on, we'll see TSUNAMI doing things in the past. Looked like how she looks like now. It's just kind of a coincidence that they look the same, or it's always been destiny, and that's just how it was going to be anyway.
Right.
Who knows? But
or just takes the form of whatever they're assimilated with. Because in the end of this episode, she's like, yeah, I'm what Sasami will look like when she grows older. Like specifically. Not like kinda, like, no, I am her.
Yeah. So I mean, I suppose it's just conservation of, or making sure that the audience knows a character. We're not going to show just a random person. Like, who the hell is that? If we ever do a flashback, we're like, oh, that's what TSUNAMI looked like before she assimilated, and then like her form was going to be changed to what. So it's just, it is what it is. So yeah, I mean, that's a good way to think about it. That like now this is how she's going to look because of their entwined destiny sort of thing. But no, it's a good question. I like that.
Thanks.
So now that we're back to our present day, Ayeka reflects on Sasami claiming that they're not real sisters and remembering back to a time on Jirai when she was just out on a walk and little Sasami was chasing after her, telling her to like slow down and wait for me. Not sure if you guys had younger siblings, but I remember trying to do my own thing and my sister being like, no, I want to tag along. And like, oh, I gotta wait because small little legs or whatever.
Super weird. It's like a little too mean on Ayeka's part. It's just like enjoying the ignoring of Sasami.
I love making her cry.
Yes.
Now,
man.
Back in this flashback, Sasami trips and falls, and that's when Ayeka's like, oh, let me just turn around and go help her. And then they, hug, and she remembers this time. And Sasami has her triangles there, so this is post-assimilation.
Mm-hmm.
So she's like, okay, well, she was still my sister back then, so it just makes sense. And the thing when she was walking away and like delighting in her crying kind of plays into this scene continuing, because then Ayeka just turns around and is just like, well, I guess maybe you just trying to tell me that you don't like me anymore. That's why you're telling me this story. And Sasami going like, no, but it's true. It did happen. And these things. And I do love you. And so, like, I love that sort of teasing thing. Just, kind of like what siblings do sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though they're...
Yeah, very much it's sibling vibes, but I don't think we saw a lot of that prior to this episode, so it felt kind of weird. They've always been like caring for each other. I mean, they've been through dire situations, which is why there's not much teasing going on, but it did kind of feel a little abrupt.
That's good to know, because I've lived with these episodes for so long and these characters through so many incarnations. I'm like, yes, this is who they are. This makes sense to me. But from somebody watching it new for the first time,
well, at least from Ayeka's side, Ayeka was always like serious and caring. Whereas this time you got that like one of the early introductions where she's like, Tenchi, go take my sister's headband off her head. Like that's a joke, So there is that, but not from Ayeka. So that seemed really weird.
Yeah.
She's just smiling at her crying. It's like, whoa, this is different.
So then Ayeka says that I love you too, Sasami. We love each other, and that's what counts most. And at this point, suddenly Tenchi falls out of the bushes and turns to look and just watch you waving. It's like, all right, she pushed.
She pushed
this
them.
This is your chance. This is your cue. Get out there, kid. He says like, oh, I feel the same way, this is, we love each other and that's what counts. And then Sasami just breaks down. She's like, oh, sister, and starts running. And Ayeka holds out her arms and Sasami just blows right past her to go hug Tenchi.
That's so great.
This boy. And of course, this poor Sasami, or Ayeka. It was just, I just went through all of this and had to like pull her from being so sad, and I get no respect,
It was funny what she said. I forget what she said, but it was just like, so that's how it's gonna be.
So let's see here.
I love the visuals of all the trees lighting up as they're getting ready for this little outdoor nighttime picnic that they're having.
Cherry blossom time, man. Yeah. They didn't have time during the day.
I guess.
Felt super cozy. Like if the vibes the show gives off sometimes, it's just so pleasant in Japanese and like obviously, but yeah, it's nice.
We get drunk in Ryo-Ohki again.
That's true.
Always a good time.
It's kind of weird because it's split up. Before the cherry blossom thing, we have Sasami with Tenchi and Ayeka, and then TSUNAMI appears again. It's like, okay, well, Sasami's not around, so I can actually talk to you.
Oh, right.
And explains like, Sasami didn't really die that day. She thinks of herself as my creation, but she actually survived by assimilating with me. And Ayeka's just like, well, then why didn't you just tell her that? She's been suffering with this. And I mean, TSUNAMI knows and just says like, even if I had told her, she wouldn't have believed it. Besides, she doesn't even need to know about her identity. Only your feelings for her. It was like, aw. Doesn't matter who she is. She is who she is, and she just, wants you guys to be together.
Because there's a lot of this to be solved with like for like logical reasons, but she's a kid, so she has the kid mentality of like, she's not gonna love me because I'm not really Sasami. It's like, as the audience, we're like, no, you are still Sasami. Everything about you is still Sasami. So there's nothing to change. It's like that's I guess what you needed to hear from Ayeka. Duh, I love you. You're still my sister, no matter what, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. That's good writing. I like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have this nighttime cherry blossom thing. Ryoko offering Tenchi sake, and Tenchi being the goody two shoes he is like, I can't. I'm a minor.
I'm a minor. He says.
Immediately, Yosho and Nobuyuki, it's okay. You got permission. Like, dang it. And then she tries to kiss him. He falls back and, off the rock, and that whole thing happens. And we have a really great thing, like, after those first few episodes where Ryoko and Aika are kind of at each other's throats, and then they're slowly starting to, feel more friendly towards each other, Ryoko sees that Aika is sitting alone and drinking, and just immediately teleports over there to sit, and it's like, somebody's feeling kind of blue. Like, oh,
how great! It's still like the butting heads thing, but like, hey, she's alone. Oh my God, it's so good.
I think a friendship can't help but start to blossom in that type of a situation, because they're not.
Yeah.
There's no reason to hate each other, really.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Especially two girls in love with the same guy, but there's that, but down deep, there's still just two girls.
Yeah.
And it's that whole thing of like, well, all of the awful things that Ryoko did, but we had all of that explained when it's like, no, she was brainwashed by Kagato for hundreds of years. So like Ryoko was not behind that.
It's a good thing there's that, because my entire life until we started this rewatch, I didn't remember that she was mind controlled. I just thought she was evil the entire time. I thought she was a fooly-cooly kind of character. But no, she
Vegeta.
she just was completely washed of all her sins. Like, no, she was mind controlled. Oh, okay.
She got Earth Boy whipped. Just like, oh, well, now I love this man, so I'm gonna chill out. I like that, Ryoko tries to like have a conversation with her about the things. She's like, I didn't know that you guys had trees that takes on human form. And just Aika just like takes the sake. It's like, you have no idea what you're talking about. Like, you didn't understand anything that happened today. I like that Aika is a mean drunk, because you can see like she's got the pink on her cheeks, and then like her voice is much lower and monotone. Like, that's a fun little thing.
At which point does Tsunami show up again? Just
right after this.
Immediately, like suddenly, because they're sitting on a rock like at the water's edge, and the Tsunami shows up, and it's like, oh, we're the same. And Sasami grows up, she'll be me, and that's how it's gonna be. Or Aika brings that up, and Tsunami shows up. It's like, yep, that's how it's gonna be. We're separate minds right now, but later we'll be the same, and we can be called anything. You can call me Tsunami, you can call me Sasami. It doesn't matter. No need to worry.
I'm sorry I didn't tell you guys this sooner. And then both of them are like, that's not what we're freaking mad about. You're hot.
You're hot, and now we have to worry about this because we didn't know that Sasami was going to grow up to be hot and be a threat to us.
So funny.
And she tries, this godly being is like trying to get their attention.
Yes.
And like, guys, and they're just, shut up.
I love seeing like this goddess, like just like always like stern and like confident, just be like confused, like, oh, that's what you're mad about? Like her eyes go like, oh, I'm sorry.
Just all new facial expressions. We had to draw new design sheets for her for this.
When the girls get pushed into the lake and it's just like the splashing in front of her, she's like, oh, what is going on here? Like it's
What is the protocol for this? This has never happened in my presence before. Because, that's right. They get pushed in because Mahoshi is just like, you guys got to stop arguing all the time. And of course, being the klutz that she is, trips and pushes them in. She'll never forget their sacrifices. That's the important thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then Tsunami just giggles at them as Sasami just soundly sleeps with a smile on her face. Like, what a great episode, you guys.
Great.
I love that one.
Yeah. Such a great way to end on a high note with what was such a serious and at times extremely dark episode. I mean, a kid dies in this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's not happy, not fun for nothing, It's just a good balance, We had everything that we would ever want.
Yeah. Just no matter how much inner turmoil you have, as long as you have love around you, everything will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and they're also answering questions that needed to be addressed, which is good.
Yep. Because we had that sprinkled in, like episode 6, seeing Tsunami for the first time. Like, okay, she's the computer for this ship, but then also why is Sasami here? And like, why could Sasami turn into like, magic energy and teleport onto this ship? Like, what's the deal here?
Because I don't think I fully understood that first time I saw it either.
So now we have answers for one of Sasami's dreams, which is with her lying, neck broken, blood everywhere. And then in the other one, the other dream is still about that Tokimi coming after Tenchi and grabbing him, taking him away. So we got one down, one to go.
She was depressed in that episode. That went away, though, but yeah.
Yeah, she's much better now.
I want to think these things are like happening certain time close to each other, and then the next one for this episode is like a few days or weeks past, so she's kind of mellowed out about it, and that's the explanation as to why she's not still depressed.
Yeah, it's interesting because OVA 1 seemed to stick with a seasonal change that were like with whatever episode was coming out, like when that episode dropped. And now this one is just kind of like all over the place because I feel like this one, like everybody when they were outside was in long sleeves or like Washu, like her cloak and her hat and like everything. So it's like, okay, it's cold. And like we had much more muted colors. I'm like, okay, is it like fall or like what's going on here? And
but I feel like it's one of those things where it's one of the things to its benefit is that the show feels like one continuous story and also not. Like this episode could just be like a standalone thing and still feel like its own slice of life episode. It's really weird, but it really works in this show.
It's just immaculately crafted. And again, we'll shoot ourselves in the foot when we get to later, like, and now it's not. Or it is, maybe we'll mine and do it and be like, you know what, actually this is genius and there's no fault to any of this.
We see the vision.
Exactly. But it's a great episode, and I'm ready to just steamroll on ahead into the next one if you guys are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure am.
Alrighty. Then let's do it. Episode 10, I Love Tenchi, from February 25th, 1995. So it's actually been 4 months since our previous episode rather than the 1 month break.
Do we know why?
So I don't. I actually went to go look to see if there was anything else they were working on at the time, but there was no other project that came out in that 4 month period Tenchi related. I didn't see if there was anything else from AIC at the time, but
Backstreet Boys have just returned back from their tour in Berlin.
Save it for later, Doug. Save it for later.
You're right.
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. So I love
Tenchi.
Tenchi. A reason. That's true. Maybe they were busy. Like we got to hold this whole show on hold. They're coming to Tokyo. We've got to go watch this show of the Backstreet Boys. They're the new hotness. Yeah, it makes sense to me. Episode 10, I Love Tenchi. Ryo-Ohki wants nothing more than to help Tenchi and make him happy, but an emotional explosion at Ryoko makes the little Cabot think he hates her. While wandering Washu's lab, Ryo-Ohki comes across some strange little creatures that soon unleash chaos on the farm. Can Tenchi and the girls survive this new threat? So this episode starts kind of just goofy, where it's like, here's Ryoko sitting on the deck, and then Mihoshi and I think Sasami run up like, what are you doing? Like, isn't it obvious? I'm fishing. And they're like, why are you using carrots as bait? And then she lifts up her stick, and Ryo-Ohki's in like a diving suit holding onto a fish. It's the saddest look when the fish escapes her arms.
It's a clever way to fish.
This is great, but on a different kind of broader scope, the way the episode starts off in such a random way makes me think of The Simpsons. In the way that
The Office for me.
The Simpsons will start off one way, and then within like 4 minutes has nothing to do with the actual plot of the episode. And it's just like you go from point A to point B to C to D to E to F, and then F is where the bulk of the episode is, and you've totally forgotten about A by that point.
Yeah. Dude, when I first noticed that in The Simpsons, I was blown away. I was like, wait. What happened to plot A?
Yeah, it's why when you watch old episodes of The Simpsons that you remember the bulk of, unless you're like a Simpsons super fan, it's almost impossible to tell where the episode's going to go when it starts.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's great.
That was me whenever I was going through my Family Guy DVDs of like, okay, there's that one bit. What was it? And it's like, oh man, it goes from A to, yeah,
you're never going to find
like,
that one specific bit.
Yeah, it gets weird. So yeah, it's just a very different energy for this show to start off with our cold open, or not a cold open because we have the opening. But it's like, all right, well, you lost that fish. You're not getting any carrots until you bring me back a fish. Just dumps right back in. And then we cut to, like, I assume from the way the weather is that it must be turning spring now. I mean, it is February.
I think Tenchi was even saying, like, time for spring cleaning.
Okay. So he's, like, packing away his winter clothes. He's like, don't need that for a while, and going through all that. And then he finds his mom's old kimono and umbrella, and then he hangs it up in the window and is just kind of sitting there, He's got a look on his face. This kind of like, I miss her, and like, a whole lot of things going through his head.
In the dub, he calls her mommy, which at first I'm like, that's a weird thing for someone Tenchi's age to call his mother. But then I'm like, oh yeah, he hasn't seen her since he was 7.
Yeah.
Which you probably would have been calling her that. And then I also think, I don't think I ever in my life called my mom mommy.
Mommy? Really?
I think she's just always been mom.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I think for me, maybe it was mommy, mom, and then ma. Now just call her mom.
Ma. Hey, ma.
Hey, ma.
And then he also has just, for us, the audience gets to kind of see like just who she was, the woman with the pulled back gray hair, reddish eyes in that kimono and umbrella that we've seen in some flashbacks. Quick little jump cut to the afternoon. Tenchi comes back in his farm working clothes and opens up the door to his bedroom. And there's Ryoko standing in the window, in the kimono and everything, looking beautiful. And I did not notice this until this time watching it. Right on the left of the frame, we have Tenchi's desk. And on his desk is a rose suspended in just like the same glass case as Beast had his rose in Beauty and the Beast. Yeah, man, check it out. He's just got Beast's rose chilling on his desk. I mean, contemporary. This is February 95. That movie came out in 91. So, I mean, I don't know how long it took to come to Japan, but...
Right. No, cool detail.
Yeah. Thing I hadn't seen before. But he is locked in on Ryoko. Just like, he's not angry. He's just like, whoa. Just like seeing her being
Freud
beautiful.
is like, okay, Tenchi, have a seat. We need to talk.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Hey, they drew her really well, like really like cutesy in this. Like before she freaks out, she was like the cutest and most demure looking I've ever seen her.
Just
it's really cute.
And she asks like, do I look good? And he just and then like and spins around and then
she freaks out,
caught on the door handle and rips off a whole sleeve. And she's like, oh well, it's not too balanced anymore. Here,
I was hoping. For me, I was hoping she'd do that. From Tenchi's perspective, I knew she didn't want her to do that, but.
And then we just get poor. Casualty Ryo-Ohki's like, I'm going to go say hi to Tenchi now that he's done at the farm, and then warps through the door just to Tenchi screaming, I hate you. And
to Ryoko.
To Ryoko. But it's Ryo-Ohki who just goes like, huh? Just like, for front leg to her chest. Like,
to his heart. It really hit. And don't they have like a connection too, like Ryo-Ohki and Ryoko? Like, so that also doubly hits?
Right. I mean, it seems like it's one way, so like Ryoko knows what Ryo-Ohki feels, but I don't think it goes the other way.
Okay.
As far as I've always interpreted
regardless, Ryo-Ohki is devastated and runs away crying. And I just think it's so sweet that Tenchi like runs after her and like no, it wasn't for you. I'm sorry. Like, because usually, I don't know, I guess I still see it as a pet. So just like, no, I didn't mean you. Dang it. I wouldn't like run after it though, but like I treat it like a human, I guess. You know what I mean? But it's so sweet that Tenchi does, and the whole crew does. Like they go looking for her.
Yeah, except for Ryoko, who is still white as a sheet, just like, he hates me.
I would run miles and miles if my dog thought I was mad at her and I wasn't. So.
Okay, then maybe that. I don't have pets, so maybe that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. Ryo-Ohki makes a beeline into Washu's lab in sadness.
A nice touch here is that Ryo-Ohki has to use a little door because she can't just phase into Washu's pocket universe.
But the door pops out of nowhere, like it simulates. It's so
built for her. Yeah,
it's built for her.
Yeah, I mean, Ryo-Ohki is kind of Washu's daughter, but also granddaughter. It's weird, because like just how things work out for her.
Mm-hmm.
So she's just kind of wandering the lab, sad and alone, and then just comes in front of a tank where there's a whole bunch of like weird brown bubble creatures that are just kind of like, oh, what's this thing's deal?
Mm-hmm. And then they show this like
finds her.
Big fish that looks like for a split second like it's about to eat Washu and then just swims past her.
The first time I saw that, I got that vibe like, oh, they did like a genius cut where it looks like it's gonna eat her like for real, but then like quickly goes away. It's cool.
I just love how they always have just things being super cool and like the scale of everything in Tenchi. Just
Washu is like their calling their just genius thing they can do anything with, because she's a scientist that messes with everything in the world. So yeah, she can have anything in there.
Mm-hmm. So Washu comes to her and asks to talk before. Of course, Ryo-Ohki just takes off. She just wants to be sad and inner feelings. No one's gonna be able to help her. She just wants Tenchi to love her. That's what happens. Tenchi goes to check the field when Mahoshi brings up that like, oh, she'll be okay. She'll come back when she's hungry. He's like, hungry. She loves carrots. I gotta go to the field. And just like, I don't know, the cutest / saddest thing. And like, there's just a rock at the foot of the field and just Ryo-Ohki just sitting there staring out at it and sad. I'm like, oh, her poor little heart. Oh, it's just so good. And then he, apologizes and comes up behind her and grabs her, picks her up just like, a cat or something.
Before we get too far into this, we've talked about how Lance pointed this out, how they rebuild Tenchi's house to have a different layout. Now he's got like a bomb ass greenhouse attached. Like,
really?
That's so dope. He got a major upgrade when they rebuilt that house.
I can't remember if Nobuyuki's got the same job as he does in the Tenchi Universe timeline, because in that he's an architect. So it's like, oh, he just built them the house. They're like, oh, now I can, have them build this one or whatever. But I don't recall if that's the same thing.
But also with like space technology to help. So
yeah, exactly. Did Washu help? I'm sure. I mean, there's no like subspace thing that you go through other than her door. But it is what it is. So Tenchi picks up Ryo-Ohki apologizing, and she's still just like, nope, I'm not listening. I'm just too upset. And it's like, I'll get you carrots, and you can see her tail like wagging, and she's like, I'm you're not gonna be able to get me with this.
There was
Does he say one more thing, and then actually like it shifts the face where she's like, you're almost that you got me.
There were so many moments in this episode, I would say right up until the point and before the point that it starts to get weird subtext, that were just like reminded me of me and my dog. And very Ryo-Ohki felt very Ellie coded to me in this episode.
Aww.
That's so sweet.
This episode made me want like a Ryo-Ohki like stuffed animal. It's so cute and adorable, and you feel for her. Oh
yeah.
You all have you sons of.
Yeah, we're all pulling out Ryo-Ohki.
I want a plushie. I know there's got to be someone on Etsy that makes a plushie that with the big old eyes and everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I know that they used to sell them at like Sam Goody.
Sam Goody
back in the day.
Whoa.
So
haven't heard Sam
Suncoast.
Goody in a long time.
Yeah.
Go find one of those, and you'll find.
Yeah. Good luck.
Plushie. So they get a mountain of carrots in a big basket, and Ryo-Ohki's just like laying on top of it, like, yeah, this is my treasure. And then sees that Tenchi is struggling carrying this thing, and it's just so cute. She's a magic spaceship, so she just like picks it up and just levitates it to take the weight off. And then it's like, no, she's actually lifting it higher, so like he's just floating, and like, oh, there's an oncoming car. You gotta stop. People are gonna be freaked out by this, and just fall forward, carrots everywhere. Whoops, we messed up. But that's
we're back. Like they're both on their high. Well, at least Ryo-Ohki is just like living her best life now. Like nothing.
Yeah, I love when they get back. Ryoko is waiting at the gate for Tenchi. Her fingers are all bandaged up, and she's holding the kimono, and you can see like the bad sewing things on it.
Yeah,
like, and she cares.
She has a Band-Aid on her face. Like, how badly did this go?
Yeah. Haven't you ever like tried to move something and it just like hit at just the wrong thing, and of course you applied too much pressure and it flies up?
Oh yeah,
it's in the face. And he just says, "It's fine. I'm not angry anymore." And she's like, "Oh, I'm just so glad. Here, let me help you." And like takes the very heavy basket like it's nothing, because of course she's superhuman, and runs off with that. And Sasami's like, "Okay, well, I'm gonna help make your favorite carrot dishes." And I've never noticed this before, of just Ryo-Ohki like looking over her shoulder to see Tenchi and Ryoko walking away so happy. Yeah. It's like, I want that, and I'm bothered that that's not me.
This is where it gets the weird subtext.
Yeah.
People are evolving. It's okay. We're all, learning things as we get older. Okay. I was about to make it weirder. Ryo-Ohki wants to be taken to the farm with Tenchi the next morning. He turns her away, and she goes to the lab again to shout at Washu for attention. And I think she's like, "Oh, I'm busy. Let me just, give me a minute or."
She does it in a very polite way, like, "I'll be with you. Just give me one quick sec. I'm almost done." But she still just like kind of like, "No one loves me," and walks away.
Mm-hmm.
So then Ryo-Ohki goes up to the thing with the mass in it. Is that what they're called in Japanese? Is that what she says? Masu.
Yeah, it's MASU in all capitals. But so.
Yeah, so I was thinking in the English dub, because I watched that first, I thought it was saying this is mass. Like, this is just the general idea of mass, and like everything is from.
Well, they do bring up like it's the building blocks of things. It's like, well, that's atoms that make up matter, which is mass. But like, whatever.
Close enough. They're not scientists writing this show.
This thing is a Masamune in disguise.
There you go.
But yeah, Washu explains that they live on a planet 23,000 light years away from the Earth here, and they're called Masu, and they are Ryo-Ohki's life base. At that point, Ayeka arrives to alert Washu to tea time, and they go, but the mass starts to like glom onto each other into that tank before we're whisked away to a romance space TV show.
So good.
That all the girls are gathered around having snacks and watching.
I love that shot. Just all them watching the TV, just attending like, they're locked in.
They want to know what's going to happen between Chief and Popico.
Yeah, where it's about to get hot and heavy between Chief and Popico. And Sasami covers
forbidden love.
Sasami covers Ryo-Ohki's eyes, and I do the same stuff to Ellie sometimes. I'm like, no, Ellie, you can't watch this.
But then Ayeka covers Sasami's eyes. But just a little bit. So I can see through a little bit.
Oh, God, it's so funny.
Genius.
Let's see. The mass continue to form into a woman-shaped thing and then break free of the tank during the show. I love the Ryo-Ohki-shaped alarm that's just like meowing loudly and just like on a like an accordion-looking thing. The monster standing free in the empty tank. Washu thinks she hears something, but then it's like, no, I gotta stay locked into the show. I gotta see the hot and heavy stuff. Ryoko's funny noise. Both in English and Japanese, really, really great. I'm just like, oh, things are getting real hot now. Before we have a news alert interrupt, the GP ship Shunga has been robbed, and Mihoshi, oh no. And I don't know these episodes well enough to be like, does that pay off into anything later?
Yeah, that's why I'm taking a note, because in season one, it absolutely would have. So it's like, what are we dealing with here? What are the expectations I should have?
I was hoping, because second time viewing, I noticed that she was the only one that didn't flinch when the news changed and everyone was like freaking out, like, oh, right, the best part, you cut it off. But she was like attentive, I think, because she was like reading what was on the screen. She's like, oh, something is wrong with the Space Academy or what the Galactic Police or whatever, and like, what is it? She was never like, whoa.
In the dub, she says, oh my God. And I feel like I remember that from airing on TSUNAMI, because you would just never hear the Lord's name taken in vain on kids' TV. Yeah, and so that was so
Usher's
strange.
entire song, oh my God, was like, oh my gosh, instead on the radio.
Really? Oh, wow.
Yeah. Huh. Like you didn't know that. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
We only care about Backstreet Boys here, Doug. We don't care about Usher. So Tenchi's out doing his farm thing. He has his lunch. And now we also see that the brown lady creature is outside as well. Washu comes from the lab in a huff and gets the girls to show them what happened. Starts to explain what the mass... Oh,
real ahead. Brief. Mihoshi is watching that same penguin show that she was watching in episode 4 of season 1.
That's right, when she's on her ship alone.
Yeah, because of that, I went back and like, the characters in the TV show that we were just watching before look weird. It's just like alien TV, and like that's just like kind of what base general aliens look like. Like, of course, they look weird because it's alien TV. It's just like a nice touch of like world building, universe building.
They're not assimilating to Earth lives, guys.
Exactly. It's not just a humanoid creature. They're weird shaped aliens.
Washu explains the mass and what they are, that they're the base for Ryoko, making her father, basically. And Ayeka asks, like, what exactly are the mass? And
I'm glad you asked.
I love English dub Washu's line of like, that's an excellent good question, Miss Ayeka. An excellent good question is a thing that I say daily.
Really?
Yes.
It's an excellent good question.
Yeah. Like, has lived in my brain my entire life. So we get this just like fun little music number as like desks are, like pop out and like books and things drop down. Washu's in a new outfit. Yeah. Professor Washu.
No one asked for this, but school is in session.
Ayeka asked, so now we're here. We're doing a whole lesson, gosh darn it.
And a lot of really well done animation for like really mundane things that are happening. Like this episode.
Like when the things are being flicked.
Yeah, this episode is probably the most well animated of the season thus far.
But why?
I know, yeah.
Because it rules.
They took 4 months to make this one.
Yeah.
Someone came to work and was like, all right, let's
we're making a mud monster. All right, let's go.
All right, say less. My time to shine.
Yeah, it's what I've always wanted. I've been in there in the pitch meetings every month. Like, this time we're doing the mud monster. So we get this explanation that the mass work as a group and obey their leader who decides things, but when the leader detects a stronger will, they accept that as their brain and their new leader, and that the mass is dangerous because it can shoot out parts of their body at threats. She shows a large spaceship that was damaged and crashed. They're composed of matter, neutral matter, and antimatter. As far as I know, neutral matter is matter. I don't know why that's a separate thing, but also I ain't science. So like,
you're not science.
I don't know. Yeah. If you know, shout us out. That's the only we'll ever be able to know.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend to know how Science Academy science works. It's just way more advanced than what we know.
Right. And this is exactly how I feel Ryoko would work at school. Is like, I got this big eraser. Let me cut it in little chunks so that I can, flick these.
Oh, is that what that was?
Annoy the crap out of her.
Because she cuts it so smoothly. I was like, where did she get the tofu from?
Yeah, I thought it was like tofu or like radishes or something like that. Like, it was really weird looking.
I've always assumed it was an eraser. Just because like that's what she has on the desk. So
you're probably right. But it's the way that she cuts so cleanly through it. It's not what it looks like.
Yeah, no, totally fair. We cut back to the mass who have arrived at the farm, start approaching Tenchi, and then cut back to the classroom and Sasami saying that they should capture the mass because they're so dangerous. But they can't be detected and they can only be seen. You can't use any other means of detecting these things. I forgot that at some point Ryoko did something that was, needed to be reprimanded. So she got injured. She has like a bandage on her forehead. And then she gets a bucket on her head after like flicking the erasers at Ayeka. So she's just getting her punishments, which is great. Washu asks like, okay, well then if we can only see them, how do we find the mass? And then just calls on Ryoko, who's in like the middle of yawning. And she's like, well, obviously we should all just go look for it. Wrong. Big like Tanuki statue on her forehead that's just crushing her. God, it's gorgeous. I love that whole thing. Just like, I'm going to be abusive to my daughter, who is being, the
delinquent of the class.
Yes. She's trying to raise her right and not be such a good for nothing, I would assume. Ayeka says that they should look for the factor that affected them. And of course, like, that's correct. And that thing is Ryo-Ohki. It's the only person who had contact with the tank in between then and now. So it has to be that. And she gets out this brain mind reading machine for Ryo-Ohki to check her memory. Yeah.
Why would Washu need to do that?
Well, that's a good question because they have that connection. But like, this is funnier.
Yeah, that's
funnier view of it.
And then she can she can demonstrate and show it visually to the others.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
But yeah.
So Sasami gets upset that she's, going to be scanning her brain and checking her memory without her permission. And then Ryo-Ohki just jumps out of her arms into the chair like, yeah, let's do it. Let's make this happen. And I just love she's got like this thing on her head and like all these things. And they're like, all right, well, it's gotta be something here somewhere. And it's like Ryo-Ohki just like looking up at the screen, like, what am I thinking?
Yeah.
Head empty. So then we find out that her brain is filled of nothing but carrots, and like, oh, there is data about us in here, and they're all cute little chibis, except for Ryoko, who's just like got sharp teeth and like angry eyes.
Doesn't also her Ayeka vision is like just like stern and mean or whatever. Like it's
yeah.
I remember that.
Oh yeah, Ayeka is pissed is what I just have written for how she looks. It's like, all right, Liz, there's some recent data. Oh, okay, here's Ryo-Ohki helping Tenchi farm, but she is Tenchi-sized rather than her normal size, which looks disturbing to me. I don't like that. Like, if I saw that in real life, I'd run.
Like, no, that'd be cute. A huge life size, that'd be cute.
I don't know,
that means I guess she sees herself as like Tenchi's equal. Like, wants to see herself as like Tenchi's side by side equal.
Exactly. It's, how she interprets her world, and I really dig that. So they're like, okay, well, the mass must be with Tenchi. So if they sense the hidden power in Tenchi, that's going to be bad because then it's going to attack. Because we all know he's got those Lighthawk wings, which are out of this world, super powerful, and that would be bad. Ryoko immediately is like, I got to go take off and save him. Starts to fly away. Washu tries to warn her, like, there's a barrier, and then gets electrocuted and falls through the floor.
With the bucket, and it's Nuki Head falling after on top of her.
So I've seen this a lot in English and only just a couple of times in Japanese. And it's Ryoko's word, like when she just says Tenchi and like goes to take off. I'm like, that doesn't sound like regular Patria Burchard's Ryoko. So when I was watching, I'm like, did they just not dub this? And they're like, we'll just leave in Io Arakasa's. Like, nope, her delivery is also totally different. So I'm like, okay, don't know what's going on there. But it just sounds like this.
You didn't find an answer as to what it was?
I didn't really notice anything here.
Okay. Well, That's just my brain being weird. So what do we got here? We got the mass approach Tenchi, who is spooked. The mass picks up a hoe and just starts to work to help because like that's just what Ryo-Ohki wanted to do. So that makes sense. Tenchi's like, oh, you just must be one of Washu's experiments. That's fine. And then he starts to, walk towards her, and then she starts to cower in fear before reaching out just when the girls arrive and say, that thing's dangerous. And he turns around to start running, and they're like, and don't move. It's like, you could have said that a little earlier.
we haven't addressed this, but Mihoshi keeps referring to it as honorable father.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Which pisses off Ryoko. It's like, not my dad.
Please stop it, honorable father. Your daughter grieves for you. It's like, but Sasami's like, it's a woman. I'm like, oh.
Honorable father.
That's so good. Washu says that they don't need to worry. They just need to stay still because the decoy is on the way. And I was like, well, now what is the plan here? What is this decoy? And then we see like Washu's door open and Ryoko starting to crawl out from the lab. Like she has just gone through Kevin McAllister's house and gotten defeated by this boy in Home Alone.
The wet bandits.
There we go. So the mass start to conjure like energy towards Tenchi before suddenly Ryoko teleports in. It's like, oh, I'm here to save you. And of course, Ryoko is very powerful, so they immediately like turn and just blast her, which is great. But she's got like some sort of force field. Yeah, which is so good. Again, like Ken said, this episode is like the best animated yet because we have that shield and like all of those effects and just like the camera work as she's like getting up and like her arm is regrowing again, like the mass thing. Like, oh, guys, it's just so well done.
Yeah.
Ryo-Ohki is like, all right, I'm on this. The smoke is still clearing. I can get in there. I can, catch it off guard. Grabs onto its head and starts just like batting at it. Before Washu just like commands her to assimilate and control, and the monster just falls over and down. And now it's an adult woman, Ryo-Ohki, stark naked, laying on the ground. And it looks like it was a success, and everything's going to be just fine. And to go ahead and start talking. And her first word is, of course, carrot, which is cute.
It's cute, yeah.
And Tenchi at all of this is just like, nothing abnormal about this whatsoever. Hey,
at least I'm not dead. I'm sure is what he thinks every day with these girls.
Yeah. And then he reaches his hand out and helps Ryo-Ohki stand up, and Sasami goes, oh, Ryo-Ohki, or something like that. Like, oh, okay.
Effects of that.
Yeah.
We've officially added a new love interest to the story. Great.
Yeah, basically, it's
Ryo-Ohki.
like everyone's becoming a threat. This is where the idea of this being the harem show is coming in.
Became cemented. I gotta say,
it's only a matter of time before Tenchi's dad is the next one.
Oh no! Hell yeah! When I first watched this dubbed, I passed out, as I do in the middle of this episode. So when I wake up and see like a cat woman naked, like I'm like, what is happening? Because I don't remember this at all from
really?
Past. I'm like, okay, what is happening?
Beautiful.
Very thrown off.
At least you're in your own place now, so nobody else is going to walk in like, Doug, what are you watching?
I was like, did I leave my furry porn on too long? What is this?
And this is the only Tenchi. This is the only Tenchi that does this. Ryo-Ohki doesn't encounter anything like this in in-universe or in Tokyo. Yeah, so this is
and I'm wondering, just as someone who doesn't remember that, I wonder where this goes, because she can obviously DH herself and also transform back into the cat form or whatever it is. So it's interesting.
I would guess that it's just Washu who did that to be like, hey, since you don't know how to walk, let's put you back in like a kid body. So that
so she doesn't go back to the. Well, I guess that's spoiler.
I don't think
doesn't seem like she goes back into the adult one.
I don't think it was Ryo-Ohki's choice necessarily. Like, I think Washu intervened. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, gotcha.
I always took it as that was just kind of the shape that the mass was in when they assimilated, and then it's like, okay, well, actually, now we're going to go back down to about what my age is, which is like a kid. So it's just kind of
or like Ryoko like couldn't handle the adult body, so the natural fit was like the younger, because
it's reverse Super Saiyan 4.
It's reverse Super Saiyan 4
for GT. Obviously, that's Dime is a whole different thing.
Now you got to differentiate. Great.
Yeah, I like this that they're like, oh, everything's great and everything's great. Ryo-Ohki's back. There's no threat. everything's good. And then we just pan over to this huge crater in the dirt, and this Ryoko there. She's like, "Oh, you're the butt of everything this episode. I feel bad for you." And then, next day, Tenchi's working the field as Sasami helps with a small child like Ryo-Ohki learn to walk. Tenchi gathers the carrots and sets off to go before small child Ryo-Ohki helps catch him because his balance is thrown off. And then she falls and tumbles and then just turns back into Cabot Ryo-Ohki. And it's like, this is our life now. This is our new status quo. Isn't that fun? Before then, we gotta make you excited for the next episode. Just the most ominous music. We're in space. There's a big ship with a huge woman in a dress with long hair just floating around.
Yeah.
And that's the end of it. Like, okay.
I was never more attracted to a ship than I was in this episode.
All this needed was Joji Yanami's narration over it to let us know that actually things are not okay. You thought things were okay? Sorry, they're not.
Not today.
If you didn't watch our GT retrospective of Auspiciosity, then you're missing a lot of lore. We got a podcast lore. You got to go back and on. So much happened in those 26 weeks or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Not a great show, but great to talk about.
If you jumped onto this podcast to just do the Tenchi episodes, guys, there's a whole bunch of Dragon Ball stuff you're missing out on. Like over 100 episodes. So go check that out.
It's true.
So that was episode 10. Or 3, however you want to call it.
OVA 3.5.
When I'm putting out the calls for action on this kind of stuff, I'm like, oh god, do I put episode 2 or do I put episode 9?
Mm-hmm.
So I think at some point I think when we hit OVA 3, I'm just going to be flat out, this is the full series
14.
Episode number, and just you figure it out. From
maybe
there.
Also include the title name because that never changes, right? That's universal for everything. The episode title name.
I mean, it's very.
That would help me out when Randy told me what to watch because I have no idea number wise what to watch.
I'm trying to remember how Pioneer and Genion labeled the OVA because I want to say that it was just called Tenchi Muyo. They didn't say this is Tenchi Muyo Ryo-Ohki, which is the name of the OVA series.
Right, I didn't know that.
Well, and then when Funimation put out part 3, they just called it Tenchi Muyo Ryo-Ohki. Didn't specify that there were 2 whole ass series that had come before it.
Oh.
And so it's a hot mess. And then we never got parts 4 and 5.
Probably where my confusion came from.
Crunchyroll has them. They've got them digitally. You can stream seasons 4 and 5. Yeah.
But not 1, 2, and 3?
Subtitled. No. I believe that when we started doing this, I was looking it up to be is there any way to watch seasons 1 and 2 legally? And I think it's on iTunes or Apple TV if you're subscribed, but I can't confirm that because, of course, to look at what these places have, you have to pay and subscribe. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that to check something. So, just go out there. You just Google around. You can find stuff.
Well, Randy, you know what we can check in the meantime? We can check what was going on in the world of Dragon Ball at the time when episode 10, I Love Tenchi, came out. Now, in the manga, we were on chapter 507, which means this might end up being the final Meanwhile in the world of Dragon Ball. I'm not sure because, as people know, there's only 519 chapters of the manga. We were inside Boo, so we were on our way to grabbing everyone and then jumping out. Meanwhile, in the anime...
Grabbing your sons.
People of popcorn.
Exactly. In the anime, we were at Gotenks versus Boo in the Room of Spirit and Time.
Oh, okay.
Quite a ways behind.
Yeah. But it's closing in on the end there because we were in Boo in the manga. I'm like, it's not too long.
And so
Doug,
while...
where were we? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to make a segue, but let's go ahead and just jump into it, Doug. What were those Backstreet Boys up to?
Was it 1994? Was I right?
1995, February 1995. What were they?
1995. Okay. A lot of We've Got It Going On. The boys begin touring the UK with the Smash Hits Roadshow, winning over audiences and critics, but the single still doesn't make the top 40 charts, so they're still not the big name they are today, or I guess they were 20 years ago.
Have they appeared on, what was that, Total Request Live yet?
Oh, TRL, as the kids call it? As the millennials that are 30 and up would call it?
Obviously I'm Gen X, so...
Was TRL even a thing in the 90s?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking you. You're the expert here.
I don't know. Hey, Google doesn't know, so I don't know. Meaning I don't want to Google it right now, so I don't know. No one knows.
That's fair, I guess. It is what it is. All right. Well, that's what we had there. And we have more stuff. Like we've got some Blue Sky responses to read, but I think we're going to have a quick little break here. And we can chat with you guys here in the chat, see what y'all are thinking, how things are going. And then we'll get right back to it. Alrighty, so we're back from our break, and this time we get to hear what you guys all had to say about these 2 fine episodes of Tenchi that we got to watch. Ken, as always, is out there on the Blue Sky, making the big posts, asking, what people had to say about these 2 episodes. So first up, we had, of course, Lance. Ken, would you mind reading what Lance had to say?
Yes, Lance. The Mystere Fusion writes in, it says, 2 of the more outlandish premises grounded by a strong emotional moments. Ayeka cutting through Sasami's fears with matter-of-fact simplicity is probably her best moment. Episode 10 looks very different now in hindsight, but taken on its own, Ryo-Ohki's plight is adorable. Washu's classroom, hilarious. If I'm allowed to say more, you are. I'll allow it. These 2 episodes have some of my favorite music tracks. Sasami's flashback / admission, Tenchi finding his mother's kimono, the classroom scene. I go back to listen to those tracks so often. The former 2 always make me well up with emotion.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
I keep forgetting to take the time to listen to the music. I mean, I love the music. I just let it consume me. I don't really I don't see score like that, but I wish I did.
Mm-hmm. You're just in the moment for it.
Like for a long time, I didn't understand. People were like, "Oh, I love listening to the score just in my radio." I'm like, "What? Like, it's no lyrics." But no, it really is good music.
You never remember video game music or anything? You're like, oh yeah, that one level theme.
Video game music, but like for TV shows and music, it was really weird. Like for me, still kind of is, but
a lot of
because it's appreciation.
A lot of shows and stuff just don't have iconic music. Tenchi does, I think. But I don't know, some random anime you watched once 20 years ago. I mean, the music's probably not going to be there for you.
There was one in Tenchi, these 2 episodes where it sounded like a Dragon Quest or some kind of like music that I really dug. It was cool.
I really kenned it.
Nice. Got him.
All right. So this next one from Funny Sexy DB, who says the Ghost episode was one of my favorite episodes. Maybe because I owned the VHS that featured that episode when I was younger. It has a very comical beginning and emotional, heartfelt end. Also, it was the first time I watched Tenchi uncensored. So
naked Ryoko.
Yeah.
Unapologetically, like as her character is, like it's not like anything about showing like sexuality. It's just that she would be naked in an onsen shamelessly.
Yeah. She's comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She likes her body, even though that her visual psychological tactics has waned, according to Washu. So, oh man, Ken, do you want to take this first one from Rob?
Yeah, or we call him Raw Rob. Writes in and says OVA episode 2. This was a great episode. I really liked the scary ghost first half of the episode. The talk between Ayeka and Sasami was great. Jennifer Darling did a fantastic job during that scene, as she always does. Then there are some things here that are coded. Randy, if you could read this part for me real quick.
Absolutely. He says, spoilers for OVA 2, episode 2 below, which is to say, it's quite a moment to have the little girl who loves to cook to have been killed as a toddler. Yeah, definitely a thing that I think if anybody who's seen the show is just like, yeah, that's a moment that sticks with you. Because a lot of shows don't do that. That's just kind of, it happens. Jeez, man.
OVA episode 3 had a promising start with Tenchi showing real anger at Ryoko for destroying his mother's kimono, but that gets resolved easily. Ryo-Ohki was cute, but that's about it. This was a weaker episode for me. It's cool to finally meet Ryoko and Ryo-Ohki's dad. Also, I thought the line wow, gosh, I can't read. Also, I thought the line delivery that Matthew Miller did for Tenchi's rice cracker lunch was really funny.
Oh yeah.
Rice crackers.
Yeah. I mean, he makes some great choices with his delivery.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some definite standouts. Now that you mention it, it does really that whole anger towards Ryoko about tearing his mother's kimonos. But that really speaks to Tenchi's character, where he took some time to think about it. Ryoko didn't mean to do this, and he like sees it from her perspective. Like she's just trying to look nice and blah blah blah. And yeah, he overreacted. He understands that.
Yeah.
He's a sensible boy who's in touch with his emotions and, what he's thinking. He's introspective. And it's great,
Yeah.
And I'm sure he's kind of like, oh, if this is how bad Ryo-Ohki felt, like, I'm sure Ryoko couldn't have been feeling great either.
Well, he didn't apologize to Ryoko, so I mean,
she apologizes to him.
It's over. Yeah. So it's like,
But yeah, man, these 2 episodes are good. Some good slice of life stuff. I know that the next set of episodes is a bit more plot heavy, but you know what? There's still going to be. Yeah, I mean that ship with the mysterious sexy lady.
Right.
Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not just hinting at it anymore. It's coming right now.
It's coming. It's there in our stratosphere.
Yeah, and I'm excited. They're going to be fun. We actually don't have that much left to go. Next time we do this, we'll be doing those next 2 episodes, which are 11 and 12. And after that, we're doing 13 all on its own. It is a bit longer, but there actually is a 13.5 that is on the set. It's only like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just a thing they did post. I know, Doug, you're so confused, but it's just numbers. I'll tell you what to do. Just hang in there. All right.
Detailed instructions will follow.
Hold my hand, Randy.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
So I'm looking forward to those. I'm also looking forward to, whatever we're doing for the Dragon Ball podcast next time.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we should probably figure that out.
Yeah, well, we've got some ideas.
What to do with the Dragon Room, right? Right, guys?
That's what man. No. If you're watching live, expect that tomorrow because we already recorded it and edited it and it's happening. And Doug wasn't there because
I was too busy.
Selling all of his figures so that he could just, have that one
Switch
Vegeta figure. Yep, that's how it goes. So guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us live. For everybody here, Rob, Nerdy Norwegian. Perfect sell. I mean, we have to shout out. The man himself showed up.
Just keep me on my toes to make sure I make more shorts. I'm sorry.
We love interacting with you and keeping you in the conversation, talking about one of our favorite franchises in the world. You can always post at us at our Blue Sky. We keep it easy at wegottapodcast.com over there. And you can email us at wegottapod@gmail.com.
Not me.
Doug.
Is it me?
Where you can find yourself.
I never do
normally ever. But you don't talk about Rifty this time.
Hey, you can find me at your Baz Doug, or you can find me nowhere apparently because I'm not talking.
Silent.
Well, you can find me at detectivex.bsky.social. And Randy?
You can find me at Saberbreaker at wegottapodcast.com over there on Blue Sky. Just search Saberbreaker. It's a long thing. You just do that and you'll be fine.
So that brings us to a close here for another Tenchi episode. Catch us, I say every 2 weeks, but that's just going to happen for the next 2 sets, and then we'll take another little break. Because over in the Dragon Ball podcast, we're coming up on reviewing Granola. And so we want to make sure that we've got all of our focus in one place and we're not, reviewing 2 things. And all of a sudden I'm like Ultra Ego Ryoko. Doug, don't worry about that. No, so I don't want to get confused. We will definitely, we're going to wrap up part 2 of Tenchi, then we'll take a little bit of break from this, and then we'll come back for part 3, and then we'll find out what happened. And so thanks for listening. Subscribe, review, tell your friends. Who else is talking about Tenchi in the year of our Lord 2025, right? So make sure that if you've got friends who also used to like Tenchi, let them know, hey, someone in current year is talking about Tenchi Muyo, and maybe suggest they rewatch the show and then check out our show. Yeah. So on that note, guys, we'll catch you matanator.
Bye.
Yeah.